You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you are here with us. We are live on CKLU 96.7 FM. We are streaming at cklu.ca. We're also, you just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. You can also download the app and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device while you're at cklu.ca. Just check out the different things that we have for sale there, the merch to purchase, and you can, by doing that, help support the station. We run solely on support from people like you in our community. We are Sudbury's campus and community radio station. We've been around since 1984, started off in a humble trailer on Ramsey Lake Road on the Laurentian University campus, and now we're located in the Old Telegraph Building in the new MacEwan School of Architecture down on the corner of Elgin and Elm Street. And again, it's thanks to people like yourself that help us keep the lights on, the airways open. So any support that you're able to offer is much appreciated. So if there's no merch that you need, or you already have it all, or whatever, you can just click on the Support Us button and make a donation. And yes, we are live streaming also on facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News. It seems like we've taken a little bit longer of a break than what was told to us by the good folks at YouTube, that we would only be off for about a week, but it's been almost 2 weeks now. But thanks to them for enlightening us as to how to keep things on the up and up, and make sure that we are abiding by the community guidelines that are not very clear, but you need to abide by them. And we're grateful for them and just the opportunity that they afford us to be able to get the show out as a platform. And I guess we will try our best to continue to have integrity at the same time navigating being able to stay on the platform. So that's not always the easiest thing to do, but we will do our best. And so we got off to a little bit of a late start today. My apologies. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow our social medias. Just a reminder that the show is on demand at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, twitter.com/Sudbury News, now X, and on our news aggregator, sudbury.news. So with all that, just welcome, but make sure to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen, read for those listening, up on the screen for those watching. We'll dive right in with a little bit of weather. Got the Wolves that were in action. We had the Sudbury 5 that got off to their first exhibition game of the season. So the winter sports is in just going full speed ahead, and we'll be back with that and more when we return right after the weather. Stick around. It's going to be a great show. Although short, going to be great. Promised, or your money back. Okay, and currently it's 5 degrees out there. It's partly cloudy. Today we can expect it to be mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries early this morning, then clearing. The high will be +2, wind chill of -7 in the morning. So yeah, a little bit brisk of a day. And tonight, clear, low of -6, wind chill -4 in the evening and -10 overnight. And then Wednesday, sunny. And the high will be +4, wind chill will feel like -10 in the morning. So it's very brisk, very crisp out there, even though it looks like for the next few days there's some, sunny and 4 for Wednesday. There's a 40% chance of rain or flurries on Thursday. And then sunny 5, sunny 6 for Friday and Saturday. And then a 60% chance of showers on Sunday with a high of 7, 30% chance of showers with a high of 7 on Monday. But again, right, for November the 18th, which would be Monday, 7 degrees, your high. I think it's nothing to complain about. Look at your satellite as of 2:30 a.m. You see a lot of the cloud cover pretty much right at the line here. We're at the line of the cloud cover here, and north of us we got tons of cloud, but we can expect some sun tomorrow anyhow. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, thanks for sticking around. And we got quite a few people joining us. Again, apologize for the little bit of a late start. And Judy, good morning to you on Facebook. Good morning, everyone from Barrie. That's Marianne, liked and shared as usual. And Rick, good morning, everyone. Nana is on YouTube. Well, welcome back. Hello and blessings, everyone. Are we ready to rumble yet? I would think so, for sure, on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, Nana, and missed you for a while on YouTube and on the show here. I know you guys were listening on the radio on CKLU. Good morning, Vin. Thanks for joining us. And Liette, good morning, everyone. From Collingwood, looks like you have a cloudy emoji with a little bit of sun peeking through there. So I think we got a little bit of the same here. And Andrew, good morning to you and Marianne. Apparently, they are removing the TikTok office from Toronto. LOL. Yeah, that's because Justin Trudeau kicked them out, apparently. And but we could still use them. So I'm not really sure 100%. I wonder what they're doing about those secret police stations that the Chinese have. And the reason why I bring that up is because the reason why they're kicking out the offices of TikTok from the country is because they're worried about national security. However, I think it's mainly due to their app that they're collecting all the data and stuff. So, but we're still able to use the app. Not really sure. Right? So exactly, but not the app. Question mark. Brian Poulain. Top of the morning, Sudbury Patriots! Exclamation point. Good morning, Brian. Thanks for being with us. And we have frost this morning. That's Marianne. Yes, there's definitely that time of year. And the snow will be coming very shortly. And Denise, blessings, everyone. Thank you for being with us, Denise. And just a bit of a sports update for everybody. The Sudbury Wolves were in action this weekend, and they took 3 of a possible 6 points. Friday, the Barrie Colts, they tied the game. They were down 2-0. Terrible beginning to the game. Sudbury Wolves. They ended up coming back and tying it, but then went into overtime. But then they lost in overtime. But they got a point there, and then they were pummeled the next night at home against Barrie again, like 8-1, something like that. Anyways, and then came back and won against Owen Sound yesterday to get a 3 points out of a possible 6 points from the weekend. So could be worse. Could be worse. Anyways, and then the Sudbury 5 began their first exhibition game. They won that here in Sudbury, so congratulations to the Sudbury 5. So that's a bit of what's going on in the world of sports. Checking out our news aggregator here, local news. Slow rebound for Sudbury's tepid economy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But it's Conference Board of Canada. They had a forecast that they give out, and the latest one said that a tepid national economy is due to uneven commodity prices. Oh, there's 2 things. It's a tepid national economy and uneven commodity prices. and that is weakening Greater Sudbury's economy. So we'll have to see what happens from that. And there's snow in Onaping is what Vin is saying. That's interesting. And Marianne's saying you can keep it there. And I'm saying the same thing. It was snowing yesterday as well in the Greater Sudbury area. Just to say, if it was drizzling, well, it was very light snow last night. And Linda, good morning to you. Good morning from River Valley. Beautiful area in the world. I love River Valley. And Brian, win or lose, the Wolves never disappoint. It was great game on Friday. I was at the arena. Again, terrible first period, but second period they kind of awakened, and it was a great game after that. So there you go. Okay, Canada Post workers give a 72-hour notice to strike. The first story we had today about the slow rebound in our economy came from Sudbury.com. This is all coming from our Sudbury.news website, which is a news aggregator, which you get all local news from. And then this story from CBC, Canada Post workers give 72-hour notice to strike. The union representing Canada Post workers said it will be a legal strike. It will be in a legal strike position. That is legal strike position on Friday, exactly 1 year after talks on a new contract began. Although it's holding back on deciding whether a job action will take place immediately. There you go. It looks like we're going to be going into a strike with Canada Post just in time for Christmas. So we'll see what that does for our early Christmas package delivery or mail delivery. People using that. I guess it won't affect Amazon. So there'll be a lot of people still using Amazon. And you're saying, Brian, that Sudbury was ranked as one of the toughest places to do business. And yes, that is 100% true. I know the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, which I was a part of for many years and worked for them for a short period of time. They have their finger on the pulse of the small business anyways. Small businesses in Canada, and definitely small to medium size. And their reports of year after year said Sudbury is not an easy place to do business, and they make it very hard for people. And people working here and living here know that 100%. Okay, yes, it's funny how the busiest time of the year is coming, and that's when they choose to strike. Well, that's the whole impact factor, right? Of anyone striking in any industry, they want to help make people feel the pain as much as possible. That way they get as much as they can get. They know what they're doing. They're not dumb. So, yeah. So this is 72-hour notice. So that would put us right in the mid-November, a month and a half, not even, a month and a week away from Christmas kind of thing. So, yeah, they definitely know what they are doing. Michael Matta will be in McCarrow at 9 a.m. for constituency communication this morning. And you will be there, Denise. So, yeah, and I saw that in the news, so that's good. Michael Matta is going to be hearing from his constituency. So, 9 a.m. in McCarrow. If you want to meet with him and have his ear for a while and tell him what you feel is important, it's very good to do that as a politician. And this is why people have issues with Canada Post, is what Marianne is saying, for sure, as they're in strike position. Looks like they're definitely looking at moving forward with a strike. And keeping with some more broad news. And Pat, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And it is Michael Mantha. You're right. Something was, my spidey senses were tingling there. I knew it was Michael Mantha. Michael Mantha, the MP, who is an independent, who was NDP for this area, the North Shore, Manitoulin, will be in McCarrow this morning at 9. Okay, so Ontario is supposed to be fully accessible by January 1st, but advocates say it's nowhere close. And that's coming from the CBC. In the new year, Ontario is supposed to be fully accessible for disabled people, but advocates say the province is nowhere near meeting standards it created 20 years ago. For more on that, CBC is your place to be. You can click on the story from Sudbury.news and you'll be right there. And then Sudbury.com has their good morning stories to start your day. We had Remembrance Day ceremonies yesterday all across Canada, and Sudbury was no different, and the North was no different. CTV reporting here. It's way down because it was yesterday's story, but reporting that there was a great turnout in the Sudbury Arena. Sudbury Remembrance Day, pageantry, patriotism. There was a good turnout for the main public Remembrance Day service at the Municipal Arena in downtown Sudbury. And that's reported by CTV. So you can actually see the video on that. And then Sudbury.com has a story with the Legion chaplain has strong words for those who skip November 11th services. Hundreds of Sudburyans, including scores of school children and elderly people, stood in respectful silence at the Sudbury Community Arena for 2 minutes Monday for the annual Royal Canadian Legion Remembrance Day service. The event was hosted by Dr. Fred Starr, Branch 76 of Sudbury. While the audience was in the stands, the floor of the arena was crowded with dozens of Legion members, military veterans, members of active and military reserve units, alongside members of the various first responders and other community groups. The ceremony invited the participants to sing "O Canada," listen to the playing of the last post by a trumpeter, followed by a bagpiper playing a lament. The ceremony also heard a recital of the formal act of remembrance, and then Branch 76 Chaplain Shelley Kennedy thanked the people in the crowd for taking part in the annual ceremony. But then, where's the strong words here? The story is by Len Gillis of Sudbury.com. She challenged the audience to look at the veterans at the event to consider their contributions. They're serving, she said. Some have served overseas, some haven't. Some are getting ready to go. And we all are beneficiaries of their willingness. We could never be grateful enough or thank you enough for what you have done. She added that not everyone observes Remembrance Day. Shame on those who put other things ahead of what this day and this time represent and signify. Shame on those who put profit ahead of lives served and lived and sacrifices made by men and women and families. Thank you to those of you who are here today. The event included the wreath-laying ceremony, where all levels of government and several community organizations made a donation to the Legion for the honor of laying the wreath. As the event came to a close, the various military and community groups were invited to take part in a march past the final salute for the audience in the arena. So yeah, I guess those were strong words, right? Shame on people that put other things ahead of this day, this time, and represent and what this day represents and signifies. So I know we put up some Remembrance Day themed posts, which got, some mixed comments on it. One of the ones where Justin Trudeau has changed the traditional prayers that they had in Ottawa to a more all-inclusive type prayer, which some people were very passionate about on our Facebook page, saying that that's about time we did that because it wasn't only Christians who served for our country, it was all kinds of others. But that's a very complex conversation there. So, Evelyn, good morning. Busy here. Happy to hear that Trump got back in. Okay. Yes, you haven't been on for a bit, and we talking about Trump in the States. And I just say, just hold your breath there. There's like almost 70 days still until he would actually take office, right? So there's lots of stuff that can happen before then, for sure, and likely will. Marianne, yep, to Canada, they came back because, our borders are so strict in letting people in, right? And Brian says there can be no dedication to Canada's future without a knowledge of its past. That was from John Diefenbaker, who is the 13th Prime Minister of Canada. And I would like to put out there, I don't know if I read some of the comments here, the idea that Justin Trudeau has changed the opening ceremonies or whatever, the Remembrance Day ceremonies, to no longer saying the Lord's Prayer or Christian prayers of that nature. This is from Google, right from Google. I just punched in showing results of will there be prayer at Remembrance Day in Ottawa? So I'm asking Google, will there be prayer in Ottawa? And Google says this means that prayers will be banned on the Remembrance Day ceremonies on Monday, with the Trudeau government reminding chaplains that no exceptions have been granted this year. On top of this, Trudeau government directive removes mention of the word prayer and replaces it with spiritual reflections. So that's right from Google. I actually just screen captured it and put it on there just so people know. I asked Google, will there be prayer at the Remembrance Day ceremonies in Ottawa? Jeffrey Brandon says, LOL, fake news. Read the Legion site. Why do people fall for this nonsense? Prayer is not banned in the least. The request was for it to be more inclusive, as Canada is and always has been very diverse, a very diverse country. You didn't have to check off that you were a Christian to go over and fight. How hard is it to understand? Sikhs, Muslims, Indigenous, etc., all died in the line of duty for our freedom. So that's why they asked if they could use their language of inclusion for the prayer. That's respect for all of those vets that served for our freedoms. Now, great, and that's Jeffrey and his views on this particular Google answer. And Norm says, once again, there's no Lord's Prayer at the cenotaph. Why? The chaplain would always say, let us pray, and begin with the Lord's Prayer. Right? So lots of comments, obviously, about this on our Facebook page. How can he stop us from praying? Here we go again. That's Louise. When the laws are unjust, it is our duty to disobey. We must set an example for the next generation. I say do it anyway. What's he going to do? Arrest every chaplain? Well, possibly. And Trevor says, we Canadians are allowing this nonsense. So lots of strong opinions about this, this changing of the word prayer and then not praying in the way that we normally do. And there are other things said here. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Sudbury Sudbury News and read all the comments. There are 34 of them. And you can also add your comments to that as well. And while you're there, there's 3 crosswalks of like this that I know of. I'll share my screen here. There's 3 crosswalks that I know of like this. We talked about it on the show. And they're like, lest we forget, crosswalks. So we know we've had many crosswalks recently of a certain ideology, and that's great. And we celebrate different things for different reasons at different times. But wouldn't this be great in Sudbury? Maybe next year we can make sure that we have a remembrance crosswalk for the month of November, at least, in Sudbury. I know Chatham, Stony Creek in Ontario, but I would like to see that. And yes, of different ethnic backgrounds that fought for our country and continue to do that. I just don't feel, as this particular person here, Jeffrey, said that that the different religions or the different faiths went to Justin Trudeau and asked if they could use the language of inclusion for the prayer. That's what this particular person asked our current prime minister to change it. I think that's what he wanted to do. And then he's saying it's for everybody, right? Except for Christians, right? Because he's very much so in his policies, very anti-Christian. And that is true, policy after policy after policy, including this decision to ban prayer from the Remembrance Day ceremony is anti-Christian, because prayer was it was a Christian prayer that was offered by chaplains. Mainly chaplains were Christian, and I would put out there as well that I would believe, even although there were many different people of different faiths that fought for Canada, if you were to take the number of Christians compared to the number of other faiths that fought for our country in the world wars, World War I and World War II, I would say at least 95% of them were Christian. And maybe the other 5% would have been of all the different other faiths. I would just go out on a limb and suggest that. From my limited knowledge of the history of Canada being a Christian nation and the populace that we would have had at the time of those 2 wars, 95% at least, which I would think could qualify to at least have, you get your prayer said, and then maybe after the prayer is said, then you can have whatever Justin Trudeau calls it now, spiritual reflections. So why couldn't you have a prayer and then have some spiritual reflections? Nothing wrong with that. Yes, and we are freezing for some reason. I'm not sure why. Who knows? Maybe it's because of what we're talking about. But all respect to all of those who have served and who will serve in our military and for the sacrifices that they've made. Now, moving on. So now Facebook, you can unfreeze as we are moving on to other topics. There you go. So you don't have to worry about us talking about the topic that you feel uncomfortable about anymore. There is a story that our counselors, though, a few counselors in our city will be feeling uncomfortable about it, and they're having the meeting tonight about it. Integrity Commissioner, again, critical of Greater Sudbury councillors. Greater Sudbury Integrity Commissioner is making his way to council chambers yet again. Okay. The Toronto-based lawyer David Boghossian will attend this week's council meeting. To deliver his recommendations following investigations into complaints made against 3 members of council. First, Boghossian is recommending the salary of Ward 7 councillor Natalie Labby be suspended for 5 days for remarks made on social media posts. Boghossian said he received 2 complaints regarding posts made by Labby and Ward 5 Councillor Mike Perron in a Facebook group called Our Valley East Communities. Both complaints alleged the post violated the code of conduct as well as social media policy for members of council and local boards. The first complaint was withdrawn in September. However, Boghossian proceeded with his investigation based on the second complaint. This story is from the Sudbury Star. And we're freezing on both YouTube and Facebook apparently. I guess talking about the subject we were talking about is taboo. I guess I'll have to review the community guidelines and see why. Good thing those 5G towers help with the internet. Oops, my bad. They don't. Oh, again, saying that is another word. Sorry, I said it out loud. They don't like those saying the number and the letter together. Okay, so anyways. So Boghossian said he received 2 complaints regarding posts made by Labby and Ward 5 Councillor Mike Perron in a Facebook group called Our Valley East Communities. Both complaints alleged that the post violated these codes of conduct, right? And the first complaint was withdrawn in September, but Boghossian proceeded with his investigation based on the second complaint. The complaint hinged on a post Perron made with respect to the $5 gate fee at local landfill sites. Another Valley East page is communicating that council approved a $5 gate dump fee in the last budget. This fee was not explicitly shared with council at budget discussions, and this is the post he made on Facebook, right? And was slipped into a line item on page 633 of our 670-page budget binder. He explained, this council had refused to implement this fee the preceding year when it was presented in a business case. The moment I was made aware of this, I drafted a motion to suspend these fees before they go into effect. I will be looking for support from my peers to support my motion and stop these fees at our next council meeting. Because of my motion, the city has paused communicating about the new user fee. Labby commented on Perron's post indicating her agreement with his statement. You will have my 100% support, as you know, and it's just one more example of how staff conveniently forgot to inform council about this. She commented, thank you for setting things straight, because if I did it, I would certainly be dragged through the mud over it again. When is council going to receive all information we need to know instead of just bits and pieces? And people wonder why I say I have no trust. It's funny that she's saying a comment about how she's treated differently than other people in this comment on Facebook that she's now being taken to task for. And we will see how, according to the Integrity Commissioner, she's also being treated different than Mike Perron, who actually put the post up. Right? So Natalie Labby went on to share Perron's post on her Facebook page. And Boghossian wrote, trying to get everyone's comments here up on the screen. Boghossian wrote that she indicated her support for Perron and said she's grateful he addressed the issue. But then he goes on to say, because if she were to do so, because she's a woman, she would be accused of trying to start more drama. Councillor Labby continued by noting that council declined to approve the gate fee when it was brought before it as a business case in 2023, and it's growing continuously frustrating to be blindsided over and over and asked, what else weren't you told about? Boghossian contacted the 2 councillors about the social media post. Perron said the new budget procedure council passed a 2-year operating and 4-year capital budget in 2023 added to his workload and to the potential confusion of the nearly 700-page budget binder. He also mentioned council did not receive a business case pertaining to the $5 fee as part of last year's budget deliberations. So this added to the review work for members of council. Now we had to consider all changes with impact to the tax levy over the next 2 years and all capital work for the next 4 years. I spent much of my time ensuring I understood the business cases being presented and the capital work we would be approving for the next 4 years. Perron explained to Boghossian, I don't dismiss the fact that fees were mentioned in the Q&A document we received by email and possibly casual mention of in a slide, which was part of a large volume of information presented without opportunity to review it before the meeting. For reasons not known to me, no business case was provided for members of council for the 2024 budget, as my experience had taught me that there should have been. The work to prepare a business case would have been a very minimal effort of changing the date and refreshing any info from the previous year's budget case, or business case, sorry. These were the circumstances that led me to state the gate fee was slipped into the budget and how it was included circumvented the process for a material change business case. In her case to Boghossian, Labby asked why she cannot support a colleague. She said the $5 user fee should have been presented to council as a business case, especially since the anticipated revenue would top $500,000 annually. Why is this even being considered a complaint? Am I not allowed to publicly support a colleague? I believe there is nothing preventing me from doing so, Labby wrote. Using the words forgetting to inform council is the most professional way I could convey that message without crossing the line. At the time the statement was made in June 2024, there were 2 examples of how council had been surprised and unprepared by media stories about issues we hadn't been properly informed about, namely the 9 and 11% wage increase in May 2024. Clearly, the city's information flow protocol was not followed. As City Board of Directors Labby argued, it's not council's role to go through the budget line by line. And I agree with that for sure. So yeah, it looks like Facebook is freezing a lot, and so is YouTube. Not sure what's going on there. I guess I won't be able to talk about Remembrance Day issues too many more times. But good morning, Mikey. Thanks for being on Facebook. And I don't know why we're freezing up and all that stuff on YouTube and Facebook, but you can see the show on demand. It probably won't be freezing because my feed is working perfectly fine on my switcher here. Is the job of staff presenting the budget to identify significant material changes which are presented as business cases for consideration, Labby told Boghossian. We should not be expected to know something is added, especially when it includes increasing user fees, which council explicitly directed staff not to do. Labby argued that by speaking up during council meetings and engaging the public on social media, it's demonstrating to the public who elected us that we are open and transparent with them and that we recognize their apathy and mistrust. By providing information, directing them to city website and for accurate information and reports, and answering their questions, we hope to bridge the mistrust and create a respectful dialogue to rebuild trust. She also said, it is well known that women in politics face discrimination, and accused Boghossian of chauvinism. It's well documented that women in politics experience sex discrimination on a regular basis. Whoever the anonymous person is who filed the complaint against me is participating in that simply by making it part of the complaint in the first place, she wrote. It's beyond ridiculous for anyone to even try to bring this to anyone's attention through this complaint process. As the integrity commissioner, you could choose to omit this, but you have decided to leave it in to contribute to that. I find that extremely chauvinistic. The only reason it's brought up is to try to discredit me even more. It's retaliatory in nature, plain and simple. So Boghossian determined Perrin did not violate the code of conduct, but he determined that Natalie Labbe did. And that's just very interesting. So for more on that, you can read it on Sudbury Star. You can get to it through our Sudbury.news website. It's easy to find. And it's quite lengthy if you want to know more and more and more about this story. They're going into council meeting tonight. They're going to be discussing it. So if you want to see it in live, you can just check out the council meeting, go to the city's website and check it out. Have a great day, everyone. Yeah, it looks like we're freezing up to no end. And I hope everyone has a great day. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms that hopefully won't freeze up tomorrow. And have a great, safe, wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.